Scorpio, something powerful is beginning to rise into the light, and there is a reason this video found you now. May 19 and 20, 2026 are not ordinary days. They feel more like an energetic crossing, a moment written beneath the surface long before you consciously noticed it, and you are standing closer than ever to a truth capable of changing your direction completely. Somewhere deep inside, you already sensed this approaching. Maybe it reached you through an intense dream you could not shake, through a strange tension in your chest, or through those repeating numbers appearing again at the exact moment your thoughts turned quiet. Perhaps you looked at the clock and saw 11:11, or another pattern that made your pulse hesitate for a second without explanation. From the beginning, I want to be clear about something. This is not simply another horoscope video. This is a deeper exchange between your spirit and something larger than logic. And if you are here now, it may be because part of you is finally ready to face what you have been trying not to see. On May 19th and 20, 2026, the emotional pressure between the sun and moon builds into an astrological collision that refuses to stay silent. This energy does not gently tap at the door. It pulls hidden truths from the shadows and places them directly in front of you. For Scorpio, a sign known for carrying emotional intensity beneath composed surfaces, this moment may feel impossible to ignore. Whatever has been buried, delayed, protected, or emotionally contained will begin finding its way toward you through a message, a conversation, a dream, or a realization that lands with startling clarity. You are not watching this video out of simple curiosity. Something within you led you here, and that matters more than you realize. Before we move deeper into this message, I want to invite you into something intentional. Pause for a moment and leave this in the comments. I am ready to face the truth rising within me on May 19th and 20, 2026. Let those words become a signal. Let them carry your willingness to meet what is surfacing instead of hiding from it. And truly, thank you for being here, because your presence and energy help shape this space into something meaningful for everyone finding their way through moments like this. Every comment, every like, every subscription helps these messages continue reaching the people who may need them most. Your voice carries weight here, and your presence is deeply felt. I also want to speak honestly for a moment as someone who understands what it feels like to stay guarded for too long, to survive in silence, to hide pain beneath control while something inside quietly aches. There is nothing sacred about abandoning your truth in order to keep emotional walls standing. Protecting yourself at the cost of your soul eventually becomes another kind of prison. And Scorpio, you are not meant to disappear inside emotional armor anymore. The version of you emerging through this revelation feels stronger, clearer, and no longer willing to dim their intensity so others can remain comfortable. Yes, what surfaces may feel uncomfortable. It may even shake something loose inside you, but it will be real. Stay with me through this, because what is rising now is not here to destroy you. It is here to awaken something powerful that has been waiting beneath the surface for far too long. Scorpio, are you finally ready to stop waiting for the perfect moment and begin moving in the direction your soul has quietly been pointing toward all along? Because if you are, then you arrived at exactly the right time. Some of the deepest shifts in life never arrive dramatically. They appear through a breath you did not realize you were holding, through conversations that leave your spirit drained instead of fulfilled, through that strange loneliness that can settle over you even while surrounded by other people. Scorpio, these signs appearing around you were never random. They have been quietly pulling at your attention, trying to show you that the version of yourself you've been protecting for everyone else has been carrying too much for too long. You learned how to survive by keeping your emotions controlled, even when it meant silencing what was real inside you. You adapted to situations that asked you to suppress your truth, and over time, that survival instinct began to feel heavier than the pain you were trying to avoid. But what if this moment is not asking you to keep enduring? What if it is asking you to transform? The discomfort rising inside you is not weakness, and it is not failure. It feels more like your soul pressing against walls that no longer fit the person you are becoming. Something deeper within you has been asking for space, for honesty, for the freedom to exist without constantly hiding behind emotional armor. And the truth is, those inner shifts do not always arrive loudly. For many Scorpios, transformation begins quietly, through realization rather than rebellion. You do not have to fight every battle in order to reclaim yourself. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is choose differently the moment your spirit recognizes what no longer aligns with you. What is happening now moves beyond emotion or logic alone. It is energetic, and once your inner frequency changes, everything attached to the older version of you begins loosening its grip. Some things fall away softly, while others leave through sudden revelations. But every shift carries purpose. The second you stop resonating with something, it becomes harder for it to remain woven into your life. That may be a pattern you outgrew, a relationship built on emotional survival, or a role you kept performing long after it stopped feeling true. Around May 19 and 20, 2026, the surface begins to crack open, allowing hidden truths to rise into the light. The energy surrounding these days pushes you toward the realization that your worth no longer needs to be earned through emotional sacrifice or silent endurance. This next chapter does not begin when someone else finally understands you. It begins the moment you choose honesty over old conditioning. Consider this your invitation to stop measuring your value by how much emotional weight you can carry for everyone around you. You were never meant to become the container for everyone else's pain while abandoning your own inner world. Sometimes the deepest act of love is releasing the identities and emotional roles you have already outgrown, even when others struggle to understand the change immediately. That is not betrayal. That is alignment with who you truly are becoming. And if part of you still hesitates, wondering whether it is safe to fully step into your own truth, hear this clearly. You do not need permission from your past, from old wounds, or from the people who only knew the version of you that stayed emotionally guarded. The only permission that matters now is the one you finally give yourself. So many people are taught that enduring emotional pain without complaint is a form of strength, that remaining uncomfortable somehow proves loyalty or love. But growth is not always born through suffering. Sometimes the deepest transformation begins when you realize your peace matters too, when you finally understand that your joy deserves just as much protection as everyone else's comfort. Your soul was never meant to shrink itself just to fit inside someone else's expectations. What you are stepping toward now carries a different emotional frequency, and even if it feels unfamiliar, it is not foreign to you. Some part of your spirit has been preparing for this shift your entire life. Every moment you swallowed your truth, every time you agreed while your instincts said otherwise, every piece of yourself you buried to make others feel secure, none of those moments were meaningless. They were signs of a deeper awakening building quietly beneath the surface, and now that inner readiness has finally begun to rise. There is something deeply powerful about a person who no longer needs the world to approve what their soul already knows. That kind of certainty changes the way someone moves through life. It brings a quiet clarity, a deeper freedom, a confidence that rises from within instead of depending on outside reassurance. And Scorpio, that is exactly the energy beginning to awaken inside you now. If you can feel something shifting in your chest, if it feels like a part of you is finally breathing after being emotionally buried for too long, stay with that feeling for a moment. Let yourself pause and write this in the comments. I allow myself to return to my truth. Not for anyone else, but for the version of you that has been waiting beneath the surface, hoping one day to exist without fear, without emotional armor, without constantly hiding what is real. Stay connected to this energy, Scorpio. Let it guide you inward instead of pulling you further away from yourself. This moment is not here to destroy your peace. It is here to show you what authentic peace actually feels like. When life reaches a true turning point, it often speaks through symbols long before reality fully explains itself. And that is exactly what happens when the Death card, the Tower, and Judgment appear together. These cards are not signs of punishment or doom. They represent a threshold your soul has been standing beside for a very long time, quietly waiting for you to finally step through it. The Death card has always been misunderstood because people hear the word and think only of endings. But anyone who has lived through deep transformation understands that this energy is really about release. It marks the moment when something can no longer continue in the same form because your spirit has already outgrown it. It may be a relationship, an identity, a pattern of emotional survival, or an old version of yourself that you kept trying to revive long after it stopped nourishing you. You adapted, you tolerated, you carried emotional weight longer than you should have because part of you believed endurance was strength. But your exhaustion is not coming from weakness. It is coming from resisting the transformation your soul has been asking for. And deep down, your body already knows what is ready to be released. Then comes the Tower energy, and unlike the quieter shifts before it, this one arrives with undeniable honesty. It breaks apart illusions you once depended on for emotional safety. What falls away was never truly stable to begin with. It was a structure built from survival instincts, something created to protect you during older versions of yourself, not something designed to help you fully live. The Tower does not destroy you, Scorpio. It removes the false protection that has been suffocating your truth beneath the surface. The message that reaches you, the realization you cannot ignore anymore, or the truth suddenly exposed, may feel shocking at first, but it is not here to ruin you. It is clearing away what no longer belongs in your life so you can move forward without carrying emotional weight that was never meant to stay forever. And then comes Judgment, the awakening, the calling back to yourself. This is the moment when you stop hearing the voice shaped by fear, expectation, or old emotional conditioning, and finally recognize your own spirit again. Judgment is not about punishment. It is about choosing to rise into a more honest version of yourself because you are finally ready to stop hiding from what you already know inside. These three energies move together in a sacred rhythm. First comes the inner knowing that something has ended. Then comes the collapse of what can no longer hold itself together. And finally comes the integration, the moment your soul begins rebuilding from truth instead of survival. This is not chaos unfolding randomly. There is meaning moving beneath all of it. Sometimes transformation does not arrive through dramatic signs or loud revelations. Sometimes it enters quietly through the instant you finally admit to yourself that you deserve more from life, from love, and from your own relationship with yourself. And once that truth settles fully into your spirit, everything begins to change. In the book of Isaiah it says, "Behold, I am doing a new thing." Now it begins to surface. Can you feel it? Sometimes what appears to be falling apart is actually the opening of a future your soul has been quietly asking for all along. The shift approaching you is not punishment, Scorpio. It is an answer, arriving in a form you may not have expected, and you do not need to brace yourself against it. What you need now is grounding. Loosen your grip on what has already begun drifting away instead of exhausting yourself trying to hold it together. There is no shame in outgrowing relationships, environments, or identities that once felt safe. And there is no guilt in leaving behind what slowly drains your spirit just to keep others comfortable around your intensity. So if hidden truths rise during these days, if someone reveals who they really are, or if something inside you suddenly becomes impossible to ignore, breathe before reacting. Stay connected to yourself and let the truth unfold naturally. And when you feel ready, write this in the comments. I am ready for my revelation. Let those words become your agreement with this transformation. Sometimes love does not end dramatically. Sometimes it simply changes once clarity enters the room. And that clarity is moving through your emotional world now, Scorpio. What once felt like love may begin feeling emotionally misaligned, not necessarily wrong, but no longer connected to who you are becoming. Your heart is craving something quieter and more honest now. Not emotional games or endless chasing, but presence, consistency, and soul-level recognition. For a long time you may have held on too tightly or accepted less than you deserved because loneliness felt heavier than compromise. But as your inner frequency changes, your tolerance for emotionally empty connections begins fading naturally. This is not bitterness, it is growth. You are no longer willing to silence your truth in exchange for temporary closeness. The part of you that once confused attachment with love is dissolving, replaced by a deeper discernment where your soul speaks louder than your fear of being alone. Around May 19 and 20, 2026, a subtle but undeniable turning point may arrive. Someone you trusted could disappear at the moment you expected them most, not to punish you, but to reveal something important, because absence carries truth too. At the same time, someone unexpected may begin entering your life with quiet steadiness instead of emotional chaos. They may not arrive with dramatic promises, but with calm understanding. They will recognize your soul without asking you to hide your scars or soften your depth. Real love does not force you to become smaller to be accepted. It gives you space to exist honestly. And the connection moving toward you is not here to complete you. It is here to awaken the parts of yourself that forgot they deserved to feel emotionally safe, respected, and fully seen. That is why this energy feels different. It does not create anxiety, it creates clarity. There is something healing about being accepted exactly as you are after years of reshaping yourself for other people's expectations. You no longer need to earn your worth through emotional sacrifice. And the more fully you embody that truth, the more people around you either rise with you or naturally drift away. Both are forms of alignment. This season is teaching you that love is not an escape from loneliness. It is first a return to yourself, and then a deeper connection with people who reflect that same self-respect back to you. When your choices begin coming from healing instead of fear, your relationships naturally change in quality. Life also has a quiet way of sending the right people when we begin feeling unseen. You are not being guided to chase harder, you are being guided to open emotionally and trust what your intuition already recognizes. When someone truly sees your healing, your growth, and your emotional depth, that feeling moves beyond chemistry. That is resonance. It is the moment your soul realizes it no longer needs to hide. So pause and ask yourself honestly, am I loving from old habits or from truth? And when you are ready, write this in the comments. I am ready to be loved without hiding. There are seasons when clarity does not arrive through logic or explanation. It arrives quietly, through an inner knowing that settles into your chest before your mind can explain it. And Scorpio, you have entered one of those seasons now. Your intuition is awakening in ways that may still feel difficult to describe, but you can already sense the difference. You are reading energy before words, noticing emotional undercurrents others miss, and feeling more aware of what surrounds you. This shift is not random. It connects deeply with a cycle of reflection, awakening, and emotional refinement. That is why your emotions may feel more heightened lately. You are not becoming weak, you are becoming more attuned. Your sensitivity is not something broken, it is your perception sharpening. your spirit recognizing more truth than it used to allow itself to see. This is the moment where intuition becomes your compass instead of fear or overthinking. There is a quiet voice inside you that never lies, and lately it has been guiding you toward truths about what feels safe, what drains you, and what your soul already recognizes beneath appearances. People often confuse intuition with superstition, but they are completely different. Fear creates superstition. Presence creates intuition. It comes from being deeply connected to yourself and sensing what your spirit already understands before your mind catches up. And the more you trust those quiet inner nudges, the more naturally your life begins moving toward alignment. You may pull away from emotionally draining situations, feel drawn toward more honest connections, or suddenly recognize what no longer belongs in your life. What once felt confusing now becomes clearer. You may also notice changes in your daily life, needing more rest, protecting your energy more carefully, and becoming more aware of what you consume emotionally and mentally. Your body and soul are trying to come into deeper agreement with each other. And if part of you wonders whether you are becoming too sensitive, consider this instead. What if you are finally becoming accurately sensitive? What if your spirit is no longer willing to tolerate what dishonors your emotional truth? Not everyone will understand the boundaries you are creating now, and that is okay. You are not here to gain approval from everyone around you. You are here to trust yourself deeply enough that you stop abandoning your instincts just to feel accepted. So if this message speaks to something real inside you, write this in the comments. My intuition is my truth. Let those words become more than a mantra. Let them become a return to the wisest part of yourself. Sometimes life-changing moments arrive softly, a dream that lingers longer than usual, a sentence that lands deeper than expected, a sudden glance at 11:11 when your soul was asking for a sign, or that quiet but undeniable feeling that something important is shifting beneath the surface. That is often how the universe speaks. Scorpio, the universe rarely speaks through chaos alone. More often, it moves through quiet instincts, subtle signs, and moments that seem small until they change everything. And May 19 and 20, 2026 carry exactly that kind of energy, a threshold where one shift in awareness could open an entirely new direction in your life. What makes this period powerful is that change will not arrive through fear or pressure. It will come through recognition. Something inside you may suddenly whisper, "This is the moment." A message, a phone call, an opportunity, or an intuitive pull could quietly redirect your path before your mind fully understands why. You may feel sudden clarity around something you have struggled with emotionally for months, or an opportunity may appear that feels strangely familiar, as if your soul recognizes it before your logic does. None of this is random. There has been emotional momentum building beneath the surface for a long time, especially for Scorpios caught between emotional protection and emotional truth. For months, maybe years, you have likely sensed signs of misalignment quietly growing inside you. Emotional exhaustion, inner tension, patterns you internally outgrew long before releasing them outwardly. And now, something is shifting, not to destroy your life, but to guide it towards something more honest and aligned with who you are becoming. Preparing for this moment does not require perfection. It asks for presence. Rest more deeply, slow down, calm your nervous system, and give your body space to process what your spirit already feels. Think of yourself as fertile ground, preparing for new growth, because nothing meaningful blooms in exhausted soil. This is also a powerful time to reflect on your career, your direction, and what genuinely nourishes you emotionally. Write down what inspires you and what no longer feels aligned. Even if external changes do not happen immediately, honesty with yourself begins shifting your path internally. And if your current life no longer reflects your deeper truth, this may become the moment where courage quietly replaces emotional survival. When it comes to finances, awareness matters more than impulse. Notice what your habits reveal emotionally and where your energy is being drained. Around May 19 and 20, 2026, even small changes in how you spend or save can reflect a deeper internal shift towards self-respect and emotional alignment. And in love, your intuition becomes your clearest guide. That relationship you feel uncertain about, that message you hesitate to answer, do not rush for clarity before it naturally arrives. Deep down, you already recognize what feels real. The difference now is that you are finally ready to trust yourself enough to honor it. Love that respects your emotional truth will not trap you in confusion. It reveals itself through consistency, honesty, and emotional safety. Scorpio, this chapter is not about dramatic declarations. It is about small, conscious choices that slowly redirect your future towards something more authentic. If you already feel this shift beginning inside you, write this in the comments. I'm ready for the doorway to open. Let those words anchor the version of you preparing to step into a new emotional frequency. Not because life is forcing you forward, but because your soul is finally ready to move. And Scorpio, if you have stayed with this message until now, part of you already knows this was never just another horoscope video. Something inside you recognized these words before they were spoken. What is unfolding now is not here to destroy you. It is here to reveal you and free the parts of yourself that have been waiting beneath the surface for far too long. When the unexpected arrives around May 19th and 20, 2026, let it meet a version of you that is finally ready. Not because you have every answer, but because you are no longer abandoning your truth. What surfaces now is not here to break you. It is here to show you what your soul has already outgrown and release the emotional weight you were never meant to carry forever. So ask yourself honestly, Scorpio, are you ready to meet your life as it truly is, instead of only how you hoped it would be? Can you stay present long enough to choose yourself? You have spent enough years shrinking parts of your intensity just to fit inside expectations that were never fully yours. Now you are returning to something real inside yourself, a place where your inner voice no longer asks permission to exist. That is your power, and it does not need outside validation. It only asks that you stop hiding from the truth you already feel within. You are not here to endlessly prove your worth. You are here to exist honestly and fully as yourself. So pause for a moment and ask yourself what might change if you trusted your instincts completely, if you stopped waiting for perfect timing, and if you finally chose to understand yourself more deeply than you seek understanding from others. And if you feel that truth rising inside you now, write this in the comments. I am ready to receive the message that sets my destiny free on May 19th and 20, 2026. Let those words become your declaration and your moment of alignment. If this message touched something real inside you, honor that feeling. Leave a like, subscribe if you feel called to continue this journey of intuition and transformation, and share the part that felt most personal to you. Because here, your transformation is seen, and you are not alone in this awakening. And Scorpio, there is no returning to the older version of yourself after this. That chapter has already closed quietly behind you. What comes next will be shaped one honest choice at a time, and the light guiding you forward now is rising from within your own soul.